All right. Hey, guys. How are you? How's Offbeat Podcast fam? Oh, I'm horrible at this. But anyways, but guess what? I get to host this amazing episode. We have some exciting things coming up with our Girl Talks. And I have my beautiful host, Darlene, with me here today again.
Hello.
But yeah, we're excited to be here, right, Darlene?
Yes, I'm super excited, super sleepy, but super excited.
Same. If you see my eyes like twitching, it's because I don't got my glasses on and my eyes are like, they're tiny.
You're gonna see me
small. Yeah. But anyways, we're so excited to be here today and just to have this opportunity again to be able to host on Offbeat Podcast. And we have something exciting. And so we actually have a title. We have a theme.
I love the theme.
So me and Darlene have been, we got together, she's recently actually right these past couple of days, she's been posting about her Proverbs 31. She's just been digging in about Proverbs 31 woman. And she's just been having a desire to just teach on a Proverbs 31 a wife,
a noble wife of a noble character.
Yeah. So she's been doing that, and we were just talking one day, and she was like, we should do something for the podcast. I was like, I know, I've been wanting to do something too. So we got together, we put our heads together on a late night. We were both tired, delirious, but we sat down and we brought our ideas together. And we are going to be talking about oh my God, I forgot the whole title, so I had to go to it. Our title is going to be In My Woman of God Era.
Love it.
So we're going to be talking in our Women of God Era. I hope I said that right.
You did.
Okay.
I love it. I love the title, first of all, In My Woman of God Era, because it sounds so hip. Like, the wife of a noble character. I love that. But it's like, the pressure. But In My Woman of God Era, it's like, I want to join that. I want to join that club.
Right.
Like, I want to have jackets for it.
Right. Yeah. Shirts and everything.
Like
we might be coming up with some apparel, guys. Merchandise. But I think it's something, it's actually like a trend right now, you can say, right? So I'm a photographer, and then there's just other things when it comes down to business, and they'll call it that, like in my photographer era, in my cowgirl era, if you guys seen like shirts like that, in my so many things, in my wife era, in my mama era, so I was just like, you know what, that just like popped in my head, in my woman of God era, because that is something we want to talk about. We want to talk about being a woman of God, just a woman that's just in this world today, in our era, right? In the generation that we live right now, the type of culture that we are surrounded by, how to be a woman of God, how to, how to seek God, how to portray God's character, how to, there's just so many things I believe that as women, we go through, because many of us are wives, many of us are mothers, many of us are business owners, or we work full time. Many of us, we just have a lot on our plate. They all say moms are just superheroes, right? Women are superheroes, and we are, because we're multitaskers.
I feel like we do so much. We could get so much done in one day that, like, what we get done in one day takes a guy an average like a month. I'm just kidding, Jordan. Like, it's like,
nah, I was
kidding. I'm not just kidding. But
I see him get things done. I was kidding.
Some men. I feel like George does a lot as well in one day. But I feel like we really do a lot that we don't give ourselves enough credit for. So in my Women of God era, I had to look at the title too. We selected multiple titles, like subtitles within that title.
Yeah.
Do you want to share the first one?
Yeah. So that is our theme, in my Women of God era. That's the full thing of because we're going to be actually having a couple of episodes in regards to this talk. And today's topic, subtitle, you can say, right, is we're going to be actually talking about stop what'd you call it, girl? Girl, stop comparing.
Girl, stop comparing.
Yeah. So we want to talk about comparison here. And how many know us women? I mean, anybody. I think it's all of it, even men. Like, but I feel like a lot of women, you know, we do struggle in comparison. You know, comparing. It can be, and you guys actually just did the episode today. Like a big thing nowadays, what is, you know, because comparison is a silent killer, and what causes like to see other people or to compare one another's life, especially now with social media, you know, it's just comparing is a big deal. And it's like, how do we kind of stop comparing? How do we be confident women of God? How do we be bold women of God and really believe in ourselves, you know, and really that you can believe in yourself, you know, like that. You don't need to be comparing yourself to this other person. If anything, yeah, maybe tips. Maybe if that person can give you advice, great. You know, of course, God says in your words to, like seek wise counsel, seek wise advice and all that. But comparing yourself and then putting yourself down and making yourself feel guilty, I think that is the struggle that's what you said. Like we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. We put a lot of guilt on ourselves, you know? So I know it looks like you want to say something, so I'm going to let you go.
I'm smiling because I know he's doing a video.
Oh.
I was like, I'm going to be like, but we have certain things that we talked about, right? That like certain subjects that areas in our lives that we compare ourselves with. Yeah. The first one we did talk about was business. Yeah. How we compare business. I don't have my own personal business now. I used to be a personal trainer. But I think during that time, I was comparing like what I had to offer compared to the next girl. I wasn't comparing myself to men because I feel like we're completely different. But the next girl, like, oh, she has a better body than me. She's going to attract more clients than I can. I think that was like something that I kind of struggled at that time. Or even now, which is not a business, but I'm a therapist. Even with my coworkers, I'm like, she looks like she got it together. Like, how is she so cheerful after hearing something traumatic? Like, I'm just like, oh my goodness. But when I stopped comparing myself like as a personal trainer and started more like recognizing what I had to offer, I think my business started booming more. Yeah. Because I had something unique to offer to people. Yeah. Girl, I get you. And with business, that was the main thing because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of business owners there's a lot of women business owners out there. Even if you work a 9-to-5 job, a lot of women like to do their side hustles. You know, how you say, like the kudos to you guys. Yeah, because you know, you guys are still working your full-time job or your part-time job, but then you're also doing your side hustles, you know, whether if it's just those do-yourself things at home and you're selling them, you know. So I think for us, like, there's a lot of comparison, you know, that we probably put ourselves down. Like for myself, like, you know, I have my 2 businesses that I run, you know. I think for a lot of time, though, because I've been doing more photography for more years than what I do for the coffee. And for many years, oh my God, in the beginning, like, I think I would always compare my work to the other photographers, whether if they're in the area or not, you know, and just, I think it would put me down a lot, you know, like, man, I can't get the photo like them. Like, you know, man, their work is great. Why can't I get mine like that? You know, like it was hard, but at the same time, it was challenging. It was challenging me. It was challenging me to get better. But at the same time, I think I was actually putting myself down. And a lot of the times it wasn't like a healthy challenge where it's like, okay, they got there, they have it like this. Okay, like, how do I get like that? You know, or what can I do? Like, you know, the thought, the perspective wasn't like that in the beginning. I think I would just really more put myself down and sometimes wouldn't try and just kind of give up, you know, and then, okay, let's go back to it and let's try again type thing. But it was hard. It was hard even now. I feel like even with the experience that I have now, like, I still compare myself sometimes and it sucks, you know, comparison sometimes hurts, you know, or just the feeling of like, people are not going to see my work, like
worth it, you know, like, or they see my work and they're probably like, oh, this girl, like, you know, like, well, she's not that great either way, you know, or I don't know, like, you know.
Well, what
like,
are some things that you think is unique about your business?
Yeah, so I think, well, for me,
that is unique, not you think isn't unique. That is unique about your. About
is unique.
The service that you have to offer. Like I think, well, me looking at your photos, it's like telling a story. That's what I think of when I see your photos. I feel like that's the uniqueness that you have.
Yeah, so I think that's also something that I've like recently like changed it to, you know, like where I'm like, you know, just changing my perspective of like how I want to be able to capture people, you know, whether if they're couples and they're getting married, or families and they're with their kids and stuff like that, or just couples that are enjoying their day together and I get to capture their love story type thing, you know. And I think what I've learned is, and it's because it's all in how you learn, you know. I couldn't stop comparing my work to the other photographers because they did what they had to do to get there, you know. So now it was my turn. I'm like, okay, now I need to do what I need to do to get where I want to go, which was that, you know. And then also, like, I feel like the person that I am, you know, I'm very kind, you know, I try to be very kind. I try to be very chill and just free and make people feel comfortable when they come to the session, you know, and just more having that welcoming, those welcoming arms, you know, so that people don't feel like this awkward person or she looks mean or you feel like you can't talk to her, you know what I mean? So I feel like that also brings like my brand, I guess you can say, like it brings a uniqueness because of who I am, you know? And then I don't know, like, I think that's sometimes where I do have to like really like put in my head, like I'm unique because of this. Yeah. You know, like how you said, like you found your uniqueness in your work, in your counseling and stuff like that. Why, you know, what stands out of you, you know? Yeah. But I think it's just sometimes we get into our heads. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. Like I'm a brand new car smell therapist. Like I've only been a therapist for like maybe 6 months and I'm building my caseload now. And I was like, oh, like, should I just like maintain like this professional personality? And I found recently, like I could show a little bit of my true personality, which is silly and like, you know, just show my true personality. And I felt like my clients they connected with me more instead of me just saying like serious all the time. Yeah. I'd be like, boy, what are you doing? Like, like we'll just joke around and we start laughing together and the sessions go by a lot faster too. And I think they start to like express themselves more to me. So I think genuineness, if I'm saying that right, attracts people to you. Like you're being genuine, you're not pretending to be someone that you're not. Yes. And that's attractive to people.
Yeah. And I like that, like you're genuine, who you are genuinely, you know, genuine. Yeah, that word is hard. Yeah, I don't know.
Genuine.
Yeah, like your uniqueness, you know, like and I think being genuine and being who you are, like, and I think that's why too, like when I do meet people, like I have clients that, like there's a client right now, she usually books me like her spring, her summer, her fall, her Christmas. Like she's like, ever since her baby was born, she literally has actually booked me in like kind of like in every season, you know. And recently, like I was kind of waiting for her to book for spring, but I was like, okay, you know. But I just and she took pictures. And so I was like, oh, I commented on it, like not in a mean way, but I was like, oh my, because I noticed that her daughter just looked so big in the picture too. So I was like, oh my gosh, she looks so big, you know? So, and she was like, oh, she messages me back. She's like, I know. She's like, oh my God, like I miss you. Like we're actually over here in Texas right now. They're out there in Texas. They didn't move over there, but they're out there in Texas. And she's like, and I got a photographer out here. But she was like, but she didn't do a good job. Like she was already kind of like, you know, she's like, I miss your work, you know. And I'm just like, so that made me feel special, you know. And she was like, yeah, we miss you. We can't wait to be back, you know, this and that. So I was just like, so that made me feel like oh, like, like they do like care for me, like, because they got to know me, and I was able to be playful because I'm playful with their daughter, their daughter, like they, during the sessions, like they kind of like, it's what Marcy says, like it's what she decides, so it's like either whatever she's doing, we got to go follow her,
Yeah.
so literally, like, she's the boss of the session, and I've allowed that, because it's like, like, how are you gonna let a kid if you can't make a kid sit, like you can't make a kid sit, like I got my boys,
and the more you try, like the more they're just not gonna listen.
Yeah. So she's always like that about me, like since day one, like, she was when she was a little baby, she kind of like she was only can handle so much, like fussed around, so I'm like, okay, we'll work around her, don't worry about it, like don't worry. So I just think, so creating that environment for my clients, so, and I think like those things, like whenever I do think of those things, I'm like, that's my genuineness, that is my uniqueness, maybe not a lot of people know that, but when they do get to know me, they will see that, and when they do work with me, like they will see that, because I will always show it to, I'll show it to all my clients or whoever reaches out to me, right away. Like I'm a very emoji person, so I make sure I have my emoji on there to show like I'm a happy girl, I don't know.
What I was thinking, because Jeanette told me the other day, like she uses her emoji so she doesn't come off like standoffish or mean or anything on text. So she's using like a lot of, this morning she was using like a lot of emojis, and no, but I love it. But mine were so dry, and I was like, I hope she doesn't take it serious, like take it personal, because I'm like busy, like I was trying to coordinate my clients, and I was like, I need to add like a smiley face or something.
Yeah, I'm an emoji person because I'm just like, I don't want people to think like I'm not dry, like, or because you can literally take messages and just like, I've done it before, I'm just like,
let's go right now.
Oh, remember the video that we're watching with George?
That video.
I know. That's so funny. So I'm excited, so I'm like excited face, happy face, hands up, hearts, so I need to, because it's just who I am, so it's like I gotta show it in every way.
Okay, do you want to move on to talking about family?
Sure.
Family. I think for me, I compare my family dynamic growing up, I compare it to like, since I'm in the field of psychology, I always like, I'm always curious to know how people grow up, how their family dynamic was. And I'm like, oh, and I start like, justifying people's behavior and like, oh, you probably have this attachment style. Like I go all in. So I compare like the way I grew up with whenever I meet someone that doesn't have parents or split up or something, I'm kind of just like, man, I wish I had that. If I had that, who knows like how my life could be. My brother made a point, like maybe we shouldn't talk about the past too much, but just more like the future. Let's talk about the good of our family. And he kind of helped me change like the narrative of that. But for a very long time, I was very like, not jealous, I wouldn't say envious, but I think it was just more hurt that our family didn't end up like, the rest of my cousins' parents like still together and all that. So that's where I have my comparison.
Oh yeah, I think there's a lot. I think we compare in that way, especially when there's like the split. I'm pretty sure that many kids that are in families like that, they do compare. Like, and thank God, like my parents are together. So, but I know like I've compared so if you don't know, like I'm actually a PK, so which means a pastor's kid. My parents are pastors, and they've been pastors since I was pretty much born, So growing up, I've always like just kind of compared other people where it's like sometimes, their time sometimes wasn't like they were there. My mom was there. They were there. I'm not gonna say they weren't, because they were parents that were there for the most part, But I think in certain other ways that as always, that we wanted them more there or to show up for certain things, like I think I would compare to like my family dynamic like that too. Like, man, I kind of wish like my parents were like them, like, they have their parents coming, like maybe to school functions or just things like, even just with school functions, like something like that, and or I don't know, like, but then too, like, I feel like, I think for me now though, like, I think we can compare more now, like in our family dynamic, because I have my kids, and so we have our family and everything, and sometimes I know I compare where, like, I see other people's kids and they're chill, or they look good, they're listening well, or I think right now too, where it's like, because it's a big thing right now, right, where moms out there, because we're all trying to make money somehow, right, and social media is a way to make money, so it's like you're utilizing your family as, like, that way to pretty much earn income, and you're sharing the things that you do with them, or you're sharing like what you feed, like you see the moms sharing what you feed to them, all the natural stuff, and not using all this other junk stuff, no frozen foods, and all this other stuff, so I'm just like, man, I think I'm a bad mom, like, because what, my kid, he goes to school, he goes to he doesn't go to regular the district elementary. He goes to right now a sports academy, and we have to take, he has to take food to school, but literally I make sure to buy him Hot Pockets, like, because it's like, I buy him Hot Pockets, he takes a soup, and maybe it's not the healthiest thing, I know, but I'm like, he gets fed, he has food. It's tough, it's kind of like what we can do right now, and not so much financial wise, it's just more like time wise, like, and it's just, but then I know, like, I still make sure to, he's still fed right. Okay, guys, like, don't put me down. See, that's where the comparison goes, like, like we feel like other people will think better than us, or like they're doing better than us, and it's like, we're doing our best. And I think that's where we as parents have to always come back. Like, we are all in our own journey, and we are all doing our best the way we can, and I always try to have that grace for myself at the end of the day.
I think it's important to have grace as parents, because, we carry a lot on our shoulders. Yeah. And we're not going to always be the happiest all the time. Sometimes we might feel frustrated and yell. And that's normal. What's not normal is explaining to your kid, or blaming your kid for why you feel that way. And then not explaining to them why you yelled. I've started getting into that habit of telling my daughter, like, if I did yell at her, that it's not her fault, that mommy is frustrated because of work, or mommy's going through something that's making her sad, and sometimes I get frustrated. Like, I've been telling her. Right. And I think I compare my parenting as far as, like, I don't feel like I'm always available to my daughter. I'm starting to get better at it now, but when I was in school, I was busy. Like, I was not spending time with my daughter. I would get jealous of people who would spend time with their kids, because I didn't have that freedom with my daughter. I stopped spending as much time with her, and it showed in her behavior. Like, she missed me. She was acting up. But now she's getting better, and, she's more attached to me now. Like, she wants me to do things with her instead of, like, someone else. Like, she used to want my mom to be around her more than me, which would hurt. But now that I have more time on my hands, and I spend more time with her and do activities with her, like, she's more attached to me. That's good. And I think, I would just compare that, like, seeing moms spend time with their kids, and like, even you take your kids to the park sometimes, and I'm like, I don't want to take my daughter to the park. Like, kudos to you. I'll give you kudos, because I get so lazy to take her to the park.
I get lazy too, but they're over here. Mommy this, mommy that. You said. So I'm like, all right, let's go. What else can I do? Like, they win the fight sometimes, So it's like, I got two boys. You got two on me, So it's like
they have a lot of energy too.
Yeah, they do. So, but at the end of the day, sometimes when we do go, I'm just like, it's what we needed. That's why, like, one time we did go, right, babe? Like, my son had a practice at a park, and we're like, okay, well, let's go, and we all went, and the kids got to play, and we walked around the block. I mean, at the park, and we got our munchies, you know, and it ended up being a really nice evening, you know, like it was just a day out of the house and trying not to be in our phone so much and just really enjoying the fresh air because it was like after the whole rain and all that too. So it was like finally some nice, decent, like really pretty evening, you know? Mm-hmm. So it's just sometimes I think we just kind of had to get out of the house, you know, for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we all kind of just go into that guilt and like, are we doing enough, you know, for them as parents, you know, parenting and stuff like that, like, or even how we handle the arguments with them, our frustrations with them, you know, like, I'm pretty sure like the things that we see on social media aren't everything, you know, I'm pretty sure there's more to it, you know, and how they do handle things. But sometimes like, especially those that are giving like the tips or like, this is how, you know, we've like worked with our kids or something like that, and it's like you try it and it just like fails. You know, and it's like, man, you know, or just you see like sometimes their kids like they're growing up and they're like, they're really, you know, maybe involved in something, or they learn something, you know, an instrument, or they've had a desire to like just grow in something, you know, and I'm just sometimes that puts like pressure on me, you know, and like in that comparison, like, oh, are they going to be that, like, are they going to have the desire to do something like this, you know?
Yeah.
Like I can actually say something right now, like, you know, like I think it's like still comparison, like my nephew right now, you know, and he's one of the oldest. Yeah, he's like our oldest nephew, and I think he's like 15. And he knows the piano now. Like he knows how to play the piano. Ooh. He learned playing by himself. Like he learned through YouTube and just on his own. And now, like after probably like what I would say like 3 to 4 years now, maybe that he started learning. He's really good. He's really good, you know, and he saves his money to like, has saved his money and like has worked like to buy himself like the really good piano like that he has right now, to buy himself like certain things to like, so he can make music and save it onto his like computer and buy his own computer, like all these things, you know? So I'm just like, yeah, man, like this kid's smart, you know, it's good. Like, you know, he's doing good. He's involved in church. Like he plays for the church, you know, which is good, you know? So sometimes I'm just like, the comparison comes like, oh man, I want my kids to like have the desire to also want to do something. I mean, not specifically that, but that there shows like that work ethic to like want, you know, to do something, and that they're going to earn it for themselves. They're going to work hard for it, you know, like that. And it's like, but I can't put that pressure on me and just pray and hope. It's like, you know, do my part again as that woman of God, as that mother, you know, and then also as that father, you know, because it can be in your father of God era, you know. I don't know if that was the right way to say it,
it's gonna be a new thing now. It's gonna be a new title coming soon, led by George.
I know, since George is here, we gotta say that too.
You're welcome. He's gonna have T-shirts too,
including men, if you're listening to this, you know.
But you know, I think this is in a way a comparison, but not towards us. I think sometimes I find myself saying, I wouldn't do that. I do that a lot with kids because I work with kids and I know the outcome of what can happen. And I've seen the outcome of it. Like, I don't think my brother's gonna watch this, but I'll tell him to his face anyway. We have that bond. But I tell my brother often, you know, don't talk to your daughter like a baby. Like, talk to her like you're supposed to talk to her. Clear sentences. No like babbling, because she is not saying words clearly. And he compares his daughter with my daughter because my daughter always spoke well. And I was like, well, I'll tell you why, because I always spoke to her clearly. Yeah. And at the time when my daughter was growing up, I always told people, don't talk to her like that. Talk to her like an adult, or like talk to her like a normal person, basically. Right. And my brother would give me a hard time. So now years later, he's seeing why I would tell him that. And But it's, in the same time, it's like I can't tell him how he's going to raise his daughter. Like if he wants to raise his daughter in that way, if he feels close to her by talking to her like a baby, she's a baby of the family anyway. So I'm like, maybe it's the last time he's going to get to like talk to somebody in that way. Yeah. So like maybe like not comparing as a woman of God, not comparing the way that you would do something with whatever they're doing, but kind of just giving them wise counsel, like educating someone if they're willing to, because not everyone is willing to receive any like wise counsel or being educated in that way. Yeah
That's good. I think we can do that too. Like I think I've done that too.
I've done that. I'm guilty of that. Even this wasn't related to parenting, but like my best friend, shout out to Mariah, she gives me a lot of wise counsel, and this is we've known each other since we were 16. We're both 30 now. And, you know, I used to always give her wise counsel, and she wouldn't receive it. She'll go learn the hard way. But now she's the one counseling me for where I'm at. And I was like, not like willing to receive it. And then even like today, yesterday she told me something and I was like, nah, I don't agree. Like, you know, and then today I was like, hey, Mariah, you were right. I think I checked in, like I prayed about it. God told me like, you know, not to. And I was like, okay, you were right. And she was like, I knew it. She's like, I was just like, God's going to handle her. So sometimes you have to kind of take that route, you know, like just pray for the best for the person and, you know, ask God to guide them, because whatever we're saying might not, how you say it, they might not be willing to receive that. So just prayer. There's been many times where like I would see someone going some sort of route or handling life situations a certain way, and just by praying for it, like God handled it. So
that's good. That's good. I think we all have to just kind of learn that, like, I'll just take it to God sometimes, you know, because you know, that's us trying to take control, you know?
Yeah, which is going to be a time.
Yeah, that's going to be, you know, later on. But yeah, like, but why don't we also go into like, we're going to talk about like relationships, you know, how sometimes we can compare. So kind of feel like same thing, how we compare parenting. A lot of times we can compare our relationships, you know, not even just relationships of like married or, because right now just like, went in my head, right? Like right now, like of comparing. Friendships. Yeah, but friendships even, you know, how sometimes we can compare, like, you know, let's say you're good friends with somebody, you know, but then you see that good friend like have a totally different type of relation with someone, and it's like sometimes if you see it, you know, because they're posting that too. You know, it's like, man, how unhealthy that is. Like, right? Like, it's unhealthy. I've done it too. You know, I've done it too. I'm guilty, you know, and I know, like, it's so unhealthy. It's so unhealthy for us. Like, us as women of God, like, we should really, like, I think that's where, like, and that's what something, like, I wanted to kind of bring in, because I was like, okay, something about comparing. It has to do a lot because our insecurities, right? Our insecurities, you know, we're just sometimes just not, because we're not confident in ourselves, you know, of who we are, you know? And, you know, I just wanted to kind of bring a scripture in that. Let me see. Let me look for it.
School us, girl.
Where was it at? Okay. I'm trying to remember which one it was. I was like, it was like this whole scripture was like really good. Oh, nope. I don't think I have it. I don't know.
I was looking forward to it.
Sorry. Okay, but anyways, I don't know if this one's it. That's why, cause I don't know. I kind of like saved a lot of like scriptures. That's why. So I'm just like,
mine are like all over the place.
I know. So mine too. I should have, I kind of titled some, but some I didn't. So I'm like, I don't want to take too much time, but yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with our like insecurities and stuff like that. And where we really have to find, you know, our truth in who is Christ, you know, and really believe in yourself, you know, and not feel like you need to also change yourself for anybody, because of those comparisons that you see. You know, I don't know what you think about that, like where it's like, because sometimes maybe we're comparing and how other people are, maybe like other couples, how they date, or married couples, how they deal with conflict, or I don't know, like your friendships, like, you know, like, and it's like you kind of want to change yourself so that you have to like be better. Like, of course, we have to be better at a lot of things, you know, because we're just humans we're just sinful and we have our faults, and that's why we do need to get better. We need to change certain things in us. But I don't think like not totally where it's like you have to change truly, like, you know, I don't know, like if you're a happy person, like don't change that because you're trying to please somebody. Like be happy, be kind still, like still show your grace, like, you know what I mean? Like still show who truly you are, you know, and I believe like that will always win more, like being true to yourself and being true to God though, like who God has created you to be, you know, then that's where, you know, like just be confident in that.
Yeah. I would compare my relationship a lot because we were having our issues, you know, like I had my issues. He was dealing with my issues, but he had his own things as well. And I would compare like my relationship because I felt like, you know, social media, it seemed like everyone was thriving. Everyone that in our friend group was getting engaged, and like I wanted to get engaged and I wanted to have another baby, and I had miscarriages, and I wanted, you know, like I was just, like even thinking like, dang, I could have been like pregnant too. Like I would have that thought. But I found this verse, it's Exodus 20:17. Correct me if I don't say it right. You must not covet your neighbor's house. You must not covet your neighbor's wife, male or female servants, ox or donkey, or anything else that belongs to your neighbor. And that was like really convicting to me because I was comparing like a lot, like my relationship, like things that people had that I didn't have. And it wasn't like in a jealous, envious way, but it was just like I desire that as well.
It's because something that you desire. Sometimes I think we can confuse those things with jealousy, but it's not coming from like bad intentions, you know. But I think it's sometimes because like you desire that, you know, you hope for that a relationship that way, you know. And I think that's understandable, but that's where it's like, but continue to be confident in yourself. Like continue to like trust in the Lord with all your heart and not lean on your own understanding, you know, because when you lean on your own understanding, it can cause you to go this way and maybe make a mistake or do something dumb.
I did a lot of dumb things. In the middle of me comparing myself with other people, I did a lot of dumb things. I was not like, you know, I mentioned it on a social media one, like I was not allowing like the uniqueness of my own journey to happen, you know, of our own pace. I was trying to keep up with other people because I desired it for myself. But Exodus 20:17 schooled me, and I was like, okay, and moving forward, like I need to like know that I need to keep my eyes like in my own lane pretty much, and not comparing myself or wanting to have what other people have.
I like this scripture, and maybe it kind of goes with, you know, because it can kind of go both ways, the type of comparison that either like you're comparing or even, I don't know, whatever, like depending on how you're looking at comparison, right? But it says in Philippians 2:3, it says, don't be selfish, don't try to impress others. Be humble, thinking of others as better than yourselves. You know, because I think that's what we kind of like end up doing, you know, as comparing, like, you know, there's like, that's what I said, like there's two perspectives of comparison, which is like the one you're like, you desire to have that. So like, you know, and you're like, it kind of like hurts you in that way, but you're not like creating any like animosity out of it, you know, or jealousy out of it, or envy, you know, or creating like, it's just anything, like it's just a desire that you would like to be there one day, you know. Of course you have to be careful. So instead of like where you have to guard your heart so it doesn't create, where it doesn't create jealousy, it doesn't create competition.
Yeah.
Because comparison can create competition.
That's good.
Then that's something I think I wanted to like bring up, because I feel like I've been in that type of circle before where you're comparing one another and you're competing. But his word is saying right now, be humble, thinking of others as better than yourself. Like no matter what, like don't be the better person. Like, I mean, or don't try to be the better person, but try to be the person that's more like understanding, more graceful, or just allow the other person like to have that step ahead then, if that's really what they're fighting for. I don't know. Like, I would think like, you know what I mean? Because at the end, like, God's going to reward your heart because he knows your intention. Like, and that's where you have to be careful with truly, what are your true intentions though? Because if your intentions are to like, at the end of the day, like cut their throat, like, you know what I mean? And make them feel bad, or be like, you see, like, gotcha type thing. Like, it's like, no, then that's where like, no, like, that's not being humble. That is really not being humble, instead it's like if anything, cheering that person on, like, we're here together, cheer that person on. We're doing this together. You can do it, like, I'm here, you want to be here, okay, you can do it too, like, come on, like, come with me. I think that is the humbling thing that we need to do. Like, do not compare to compete, but instead compare to and be humble. If you're gonna compare, but don't compare, instead be humble. Be humble with where you're at.
One thing I practiced when I was personal training was acknowledging the services that I offered, but also acknowledging the services I didn't offer. And if I knew of a personal trainer that offered a service that I couldn't provide, like, I would refer them, and that's me humbling them. And I will let my clients know, or like, when we'll meet, is that you shop for a personal trainer that works for you. Because at the end of the day, you're being personal, you're being vulnerable, you're on this journey, and you need to find and invest in a personal trainer that's for you. So when they came to me and they wanted something that I didn't offer, I always referred them to someone else. And that helped me be humble, but that also helped me attract even more people. Yeah.
That's good. I think, because I think God honors that, in a way, like, you don't really think about it, but like, it's in a way like you're sacrificing something, like you're allowing these other people, clients that can probably be yours, and you can probably still do it some way, somehow, but it's like, why am I gonna like break my head over something, or why am I gonna, or I might even get in trouble for doing this, when you can literally like just send them off to a different person. And at the end of the day, you're helping that other person. You're helping the other person get maybe they were struggling with work, maybe they needed more clients, maybe they're struggling financially, and with you like just referring them to that person, it's like, they felt they were blessed. I know my husband has done that too. And I think we've done that too. And we've learned that, like, when there's something that we can't do, or it's just something maybe even too much for us to do, like, if anything, we'll just refer them to people that we know that can do it, that maybe we've worked with them, and we know if anything, it'll be a blessing to them, and they would be happy to take that referral, and at the end of the day, it's like, it's going to help the people that, it's not going to leave the people behind. You're just not going to leave them like, I can't help you, that's it. Like, no, like, if anything, it's going to like help others, at the end of the day, so I think that's kind of like where we have to think about, like, really begin to change our perspective of things, instead of comparing, like, really like, okay, how can I help? How can we help each other instead? So.
Yeah, I like that. Like building each other up instead of comparing, right? So we don't always. George is throwing game signs.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
So instead of like comparing, spending the time to encourage other people to grow in their uniqueness as well. I think the last we have two more bodies.
I know, but you know what? Instead of that one, because that can go with what we're gonna talk in one of the other ones.
Yeah.
I think for the rest of the time, I would like to talk about this one, our last one, because we're starting our theme is in our Woman of God era.
Yes, I love that.
And girl, you need to stop comparing your spiritual walk. Stop comparing your spiritual walk to other women. Because we were actually talking about it. We were talking about the topics and ideas. I was sharing with Darlene that I feel like I have been comparing my spiritual walk, my personal walk with Christ lately compared to other women, because I've come across actually a lot of people that through the homeschooling world that my kids were involved in. And we were also involved in selling coffee to the moms. And just also because our transition as well, we recently, not too long ago, almost like a year ago now, we transitioned out of our old church and we started at a new church, and through all of this, I feel like I have been comparing a lot my spiritual walk, because I'm also busy with my, our family, our kids with their sports, and then our businesses, working our businesses right now and trying to just get them up, I feel like I was telling you, right? My spiritual walk, I feel like I've been comparing, and we were I just don't feel like I haven't been doing maybe what I'm used to doing. Yeah. But then a lot of it has to do because the reason why I'm comparing is because right now, we've actually I've always been involved in church. When we were at our other church, I've always been involved in something, whether if it was a worship team or whether if it was helping administration, anything. I feel like I would always try to help in some sort of way. And right now, actually, within this transition, we haven't really been involved in church. We've been going to church, of course. We go our Sundays, we'll go to the events, or we'll have our fellowships and our life groups and stuff, but not being involved, And I grew up the way to serve God is actually how you serve God is based on what you do at church in a way, And I think because I haven't really been involved at church, I feel like I've been comparing, or I feel like people are probably looking at me I wonder how her spiritual walk is because of that,
Have you thought that maybe something what we're doing now is something that's new, something that, this could be your way of serving, right? That's something that we also talked about, having the platform, having Offbeat Podcast. It's an opportunity for you to be in a ministry. That's one way, right, of serving. You're sharing the word. You're not participating actively in a church, but you're participating actively in a world. You're reaching a larger audience, not just one specific place. So I think that's awesome too. Putting the work. When we met, we were very tired. It was one Saturday and we were delirious. But that's serving. In the middle of us being delirious, we could have been hey girl, I want to reschedule. We were fellowshipping that night, and it was beautiful. I felt good afterwards. I knocked out when I got home.
Me too. I knocked out that night.
So I wanted to share 2 Corinthians chapter 13 verse 5. It says, I'm gonna read this version. I like this New Living Translation. Examine yourself to see if your faith is genuine. Test yourselves. Surely you know that Jesus Christ is among you. If not, you have failed the test of genuine faith. I pulled this because I feel like sometimes we see the person next to us praising God all crazy, they're dancing in church, and you're kind of just I should probably do that too. But are you being genuine when you're doing that? It should be something that you want to do yourself. Serving should be something that you want to do yourself, not because you see someone else doing it. It should be genuine. I think we have to take the time to think am I going to church because I genuinely want to have this relationship with God, or because the whole crowd is doing it? Am I going to Wednesday service? Am I attending these classes? Am I trying to fellowship because everyone else is doing it, or because I want to do it because I want to have a relationship with God?
And I think above all, that should always be our desire, is truly knowing what's in your heart, and and I think you're doing a great job, because I think I think in your heart, you know, as you're talking about that, because I know that's more towards you, you know, because you just named everything that right now that you're doing.
I really did. Thanks for calling me out.
I know. Hey, girl, I was saying my truth, you know, like when I felt so. I was kidding. No, but I think, because to be honest, when you see other people serving, like, to be honest, you would hope, well, that person that's serving, right, that's doing what they're doing, well, hopefully with good intentions, and that they truly are serving God because that's what they want to do, and they love God, and they're in their woman of God era, they're in their man of God era, you know, and they are doing it for God, you know, that it actually would encourage people. That's a lot of the reasons why I do it, you know, that when I do praise, and I mean, I'm not a wild praiser, but when I do praise, when I do lift up my hand at church, even if I'm not on the stage, when I'm still on the seats, when I'm still on the seats, like, I'm still with my hands up, you know, because that worship in me, like me as a worshiper, like, that has not left me, you know. And to be honest, like, I want to show people, like, I don't care, like, I love God, you know, and I'm here to worship him, you know, like, and it's also so I can show my kids, like, mom loves to worship God. I lift up my hands. I don't care. Like, I'm not embarrassed.
And then there's a difference too, because you're doing it because you want to praise God, right? I think we have to be careful on, like, am I doing it so everyone could be like, everyone could see, like, am I doing it to show off, or am I doing it because I want to inspire others? I'm doing it because I'm not afraid, and I'm not shy to let everyone know that I'm going to praise God right now, and I'm feeling this song, and I want to raise my hand. Sometimes it's the song, and sometimes I'm like, ooh, like, so, like, it's that, and, like, the genuineness that we're in of it.
And I think it's also the humbleness, and that's where you have to be humble, like, you know, like, are you doing it for the right reasons? You know, like, don't just do it for the hype, you know, to show off. Like, like, no, like, God knows your heart, you know, and if you're doing it for those things, believe me, like, God will somehow end up working in you, and that conviction. Well, I pray that conviction will come and, like, work in you, because I don't know, like, that's not true. You know, like, you want to do it with good intentions, and truly because you love God and you want to serve God, and you want to help others, you know. And so guys, so don't stop comparing. Girl, stop comparing. You know, man, guy, stop comparing, you know. If you're listening to this, you know, let's walk in our women of God era, you know, like, let's be confident, you know. Don't compare yourself, love yourself. And I think even go listen to our one of the episodes that we did, you know, of, like, do you love yourself? I think that has to even, like, oh, that's even more to it, but that has to do a lot of it too. Like, do you love yourself? And I think when you get closer to God, and when you have that close relationship with God and get to know him in his word and prayer, like, that's where you'll find, like, you know, truly who you are in him, you know, and find your identity. You know, I encourage you to stay tuned for the next episodes for in my Woman of God era. We're going to be talking about a few things these next couple of weeks, and we're going to just be learning. We want to encourage you guys to just grow in your word, grow with fellowship, grow with hopefully wise counsel. Hopefully I'm praying that all this that we're saying is wise counsel to you guys, and it helps you grow, and it helps you grow in your relationship with God, you know. So Darlene, do you want to say anything?
I just want to say, like, we chose these subtitles because it's something that was near and dear to us, and it's also something that we realize affects other women as well. And we chose these titles specifically so that you can grow closer and become more of a woman of God, because you're in your woman of God era. Okay. I will, like Jeanette said, like, stop comparing yourself to other people. Recognize your own uniqueness, your own strengths, your God-given strengths. Remember that. If you don't even know your strengths, ask God, literally ask God, pray to God, show me my strengths, like, make it known, and don't be shy to show your strengths to other people. I think sometimes we're kind of like, oh no, like you're shy about it, but don't be shy, be loud about it, be proud, show your uniqueness, and follow us these next couple of weeks. And we're going to talk about all the chica stuff and have fun with it.
Yes. So I just want to leave you guys with the scripture. We're going to be bringing some scriptures here. That is our goal, that we're reading you guys the word. Don't be afraid. Isaiah 41:10. Don't be afraid, for I am with you. Don't be discouraged, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will hold you up with my victorious right hand. So God is with you. God loves you. He is your strength, and he sees you for who you are. And yeah, we'll see you guys here the next time. And this is Offbeat Podcast, Girl Talk. And thank you guys for watching. Subscribe, follow, share. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time.